That is a reality for a lot of people, and this here is why. Understanding and realizing that some of your clients have this disease of addiction, and looking at some of the things that's ahead of them. I mean, I don't have time to be politically correct to help save your life. I got to tell you what's happening out there, because 30 years I was out there, and I was probably one of those guys you don't want to run into. People look at me today and they say, oh, nice, clean cut, very pleasant fellow. Only because of this 12-step program and the God of my understanding. Because for 30 years, I was one of those hope-to-die dope fiends. Never thought that I would recover. Spent 13 years in prison. Well, in and out. Come out for a little bit, get rested up, get tired of the streets, go back again. That's what it seemed like a lot of the times. In trying to break that cycle, because this here is what my willpower did. When I got arrested in '95, I went down for 4 years and got out. And you would think, I would follow your logic, Chelsea. I know if I do those things and I go places, they make me go places I don't like, I'm going to stop doing that because I got to find a job. I'm going to be an upstanding citizen. Those were my intentions. This is where the obsessiveness of this disease comes in, because now all I could think of was the good times. Anybody know what that selective thinking is like? I'm only thinking of the good experiences that I had, and I know I can recapture these things. All I got to do, what's your name?
Cassie.
Cassie. All I got to do is stay away from Cassie this time, and I'll hang out with Chelsea. Because, see, when I got busted, I was getting high with Cassie. So if I don't get high with Cassie no more, I won't get busted no more. That's our logic. Well, a lot of us. Not everybody thinks like that, but the majority of us do, because we think if we change, if I go to another city, I hang with different using friends. I go to different places, even though they still use there, it's a different place. So I blame that other place for what happens. And I don't care how much you change those geographic situations. One of the things that was in common with every place that I went, there was what? Say that again.
You.
Me.
You got to take you with you.
And that's it. And this here is where, and I think I'm going to title my book, I'm Sick and Didn't Even Know It. Because while I'm running from myself. And the only thing that I was doing was just, the more I ran, the further I got from the solution. Because the more you run, the further you get. And the solution was back here in facing and dealing with some of the problems that I had. I ran, because I couldn't handle it. Or I thought that this was the way things were going to be. You know, life, this is all life had. And it wasn't until, number one, I got with the first step, when I started taking this program seriously. Because you go down so far, and I think Abraham Lincoln made one of those quotes, that a man goes down so far that the only place he can look is up. And that up was to a power greater than myself. And in the beginning, it was the people in this 12-step fellowship that offered me a different way, gave me suggestions. And I started looking at the evidence that's in their life. And I knew all about evidence, because I know there was all type of evidence that was brought into court to prove that I did something. So I know evidence is valuable in proving a point. And when you got the right evidence, it makes whatever it is that they're saying true, right? Because if I got your fingerprints, I got your DNA, how you gonna tell me you wasn't there? Can you? Well, you could always argue that somebody planted it. Okay, but I saw you too. And the evidence that I saw with these people that said that they had found a new way to live is in the way that they were living. I'd go to the meetings and I'd see what they were doing. I'd sit in the circles and I'd listen to the things that they're talking about. And I'm thinking like, wow, come on man, that can't be for real. You've got to be lying. Everybody, no. Come on, man, if you're a dope fiend like me, how did your life get like that? because I couldn't imagine life without dope, especially a good life without dope. Just couldn't imagine life, period, because that's what's wrong with my thinking. Because again, this attacks us psychologically also. So after staying around, because really when you get to a point where you get sick and tired, you learn how to stick and stay somewhere. And it was that I reached that bottom. I had hurt long enough. You know, it is on fire, and I'm waiting for somebody to put it out. This hurts. I'm not going back to prison. I'm not. That was the only thing that I knew for sure. How that was going to happen, I didn't know until I got introduced to that program. Well, let me take that back. I was introduced to the program a long time ago until I started looking at the program as an option, a viable option, based upon the evidence that was shown to me. And when I saw how people recovered from this, that they're not cured, they can recover. And I think when you look up the word recover, is to regain or get changed back to a former state. Now, never going to be cured, because that predisposition that if I put a substance in me, it's going to trigger that effect, and I'm off to the races again, no doubt in my mind. That's my evidence, because I've done it for 30 years. So I don't even think that I'm going to be a social drinker, because with me, there is no such thing as a social drink. I don't do social drinking. I drink for the effect. I use for the effect. And as long as it's sitting there, I'm going to do it. I don't know how people got up from the bar. I don't care if it is closing, man. There's no liquor here. Why would you leave? I don't understand that. But then again, I'm an addict. I think like that. But seeing these people and how they live and applying some of these simple principles. One, just had to come to, I'm an addict, and my life was unmanageable. Two, I'm thinking that I'm hopeless. There's no way for me to get over this. But the second step, and they told me that I had to come to believe, and this here is something that was personal for me. I came to believe that there was a power greater than myself that could restore me to sanity. Because that sanity that we talked about, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results, just stupid. Dude, you know you got to go to work in like 10 minutes. Why are you still sitting here? Dude, that was the rent money. Why did you spend it? Come on, man, don't take their stuff like that. Why are you chancing your life breaking into somebody's house trying to get something just to go get one more? Because I didn't believe there was anything that was powerful enough to help me break that cycle, because I was locked. And this 12-step program is the only thing that offered me the opportunity, offered me an option that if I apply this, then it's not over for me. It's a beginning. Came to believe that a power greater than myself could restore me to sanity. 3, turn my will and my life over to the care of God as I understood Him. Now, I know some of us, man, I'm not going out here on some religious zeal. I don't do organized religion. I ain't, hold on. We say to God of your understanding. The only thing that they ask, in the literature will say, the only thing that they ask is that this God that of your understanding has to be loving and kind. That's all they ask. And in the beginning, that was enough for me to start believing or start taking hold of this idea that maybe there is a power greater than myself that could restore me to sanity. Because I knew there was a power greater than myself that kept me in my insanity. And that power greater than myself was that disease of addiction. Because it took me places I didn't want to go, and I know y'all heard this, it made me stay longer than I wanted to stay, and made me pay more than what I had. So I knew there was a power greater than myself. I submitted to that all the time. But they said you could surrender to a different power. You can surrender to a power that's loving and kind that is greater than this disease of addiction. What power is that? All of the recovering addicts that were in that room. All of them had experiences. All of them had knowledge. They had the tools that I needed. All I had to do was just reach out and grab them and apply them in my life. if this is a nail, this is a hammer, and I got to nail this shut. I got the nail and the hammer. How come that's not shut? Hey, this here is part of the interactive. You really can't answer
Well,
some
you
of
got
these
to apply
questions.
that.
You
You
gotta
got to apply
nail
the nail to wood.
Oh, I got to.
Hammer to nail.
I got to apply, and, hey, whose is it?
Fine. It's cool.
Have at it.
Can I,
Have at it.
can I have at it?
Have at it.
I'm good. Okay. And that's, like a simple, like a analogy of what I had to do with this program. Start applying it in my life. Because having the tools are nothing until you start using them. 3, that was turn my will and my life over to the care of God as I understood it. 4, made a fearless and searchable moral inventory of myself. Now, when we take a moral inventory, everybody expects you just got to look at the bad stuff. Well, here's what kept me out there, because that's all I looked at was the bad stuff. Oh, how was this? Oh, how was that? I didn't do this. I didn't do that. Did you see what I did to them? Oh, my goodness. But I wasn't always like that. There were things that I learned that I got good attributes. Even being that hope that I don't faint, there was still good in me. And it was there that they taught me to look inside myself and find that. Now, let's don't discount the bad. We're not erasing that. Those things that I did, that's history. I can't change it. Come to accept what you were. Because in most people's faith, that there were people who weren't that great until they were called. And once they gave themselves over to that power, they were forgiven of all the things that they did, provided you turned a new leaf over and you started living a new life. That thing of forgiveness is open to everybody. So in a way, this 4th step is a way of helping you forgive yourself for the things that you did. Because if you hold on to that guilt and resentment about you, how far down the street you think you're going to get carrying a Volkswagen on your back? Wait a minute. Can you carry a Volkswagen on your back?
I can't carry any kind of car on my back.
Yeah. And you don't go anywhere. There was a wise man. And if somebody heard this, don't say nothing. Just let me finish with my story. All right? Don't ruin it for somebody that hasn't heard this. A wise man sat in the room, cracked a joke. Everybody thought that joke was so funny. They just laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed. Everybody laughed. After a few minutes, the man told the joke again. Well, not as many people laughed this time, but there's still a lot of people that laughed. And this man told this joke again and again and again until, what do you think happened?
Nobody laughed.
People stopped laughing. And the man sat there and he looked at him. He says, now, if you can't laugh at the same joke time and time again, why do you cry over the same things time and time again? This is what my 4th step helped me do. Stop crying over that stuff that I really had no power over. Because it's time for me to change. And let's say 5 years down the road, because that's where I am now, 5 years clean. I don't have those problems of fighting those urges of wanting to use. That's not my battle today. But I still have some thinking problems, some impulses, some judgment calls, things that are related to what everybody in normal society has. Somebody will say something or do something. I want to hold a resentment. No, I can't do that because it's dangerous for me. I don't get into other people's business because I'm not going to sit around and start taking inventory on you when I know that I got things about me. And again, some of the books that I read, that it talks about, how you going to stand there and talk about the straw in somebody else's eye? You got a big rafter hanging out of yours. It's teaching me balance, how to walk on my side of the road, keep my side of the street clean. Number 5 was admit to God, admit to God, myself, and another person the exact nature of my wrongs. Now, when we talk about the exact nature of your wrongs, this is where part of that inventory that you looked at that I looked at, where I know I was self-centered, vindictive, vengeful, the exact nature of my wrongs. Let's just get to it and call it for what it is. Even though you may have done something to me, doesn't mean that now I'm going to use that as justification to let you do something back to you. Now, I don't think that's just a problem that addicts share. I think that's a problem that all of us share. Let somebody do something to you. And I know by that smile, your smile says, I don't get mad, I get even. What's your name?
Rachel.
Rachel, trust me, I will not piss you off. I won't. I want to go home. Watch the tires on my car.
Gotcha.
But that is a natural reaction for most of us, the majority of society. We're a vengeful society. We want the exact punishment out of everybody. But what we do, man, let's just get to the exact nature of why I do stuff. I'm going to forget about you, because if I let you take care of you, probably most of the things that you're doing is because of me. Because, you know, for every action, I don't know what law of physics is that. For every action, there's an equal, you know, reaction. Any physics? No, human resources. Okay. I'll save that for my physics class. But this is true.
It's Newton's law of relativity.
I knew there was a reason I brought her. Yeah, Newton's law of relativity. Okay. Number 6, I had to be ready to have God remove all these defects of character. And again, going back to my 4th step, looking at all of my flaws. Now, I'm not concentrating on them, but if I want to get better, if I want to stop being lazy, you know, I want to stop being judgmental, I want to stop being lying, I want to stop manipulating people, because, you know, I don't know, I love my wife. But my first wife, oh man, I could think of every reason in the world why I could sleep. I needed this. What's your name?
Lindsay.
I could think of every reason in the world that me being a married man, that me and Lindsay, we should hook up. Yep. Now, is that a character defect? No, really, you can answer that one. Oh, but in case somebody's in an affair like that right now, I won't let you set yourselves out. Yeah, that's a character defect. That's a character defect. I had to get with that, because even after I did it, and I tell myself there was some pleasure in that, but then again, there's guilt that comes in behind that. And then I got to find a way to cover up or mask that guilt to move on. Because now I got to villainize you. Because I'm not going to villainize me. Another character defect. I know how to play that blame game. Rachel, yes, you did it. I'm the reason why I am today. This is why I am what I am today, because of you. I don't know you, dude. I don't care. You did something. Just the way you looked at me, you laughed at me. And I can make it all about her. That's what we do when we're sick. Everybody else is the problem except us. And in 12-step programs, I don't care what it is, AA, NA, CA, SA, GA, any more? Whatever A it is. We are taught to look at ourselves. Get your side of the road clean. Number 7, we humbly ask God to remove our shortcomings. Because again, none of this stuff is going to happen by itself. I got to work on it. I have to make a conscious effort that I'm going to stop being manipulative. I'm going to stop lying to you. Chelsea. Gotta remember your name first. Been in this relationship for what, 5 minutes now, and I still can't remember your name. I got to start doing this, and I got to have the courage and the willingness, because this is what the previous steps have built me up for, to go and humbly ask God, look, I need help dealing with this. I'm just going to put it in your hand. I'm not going to do this. And when things happen, and it's not that, you know, there's this big hand that comes down out of the sky and guides me around the problem. I seriously believe that the people that I'm connected with in my in my network of recovering addicts that they see. And when the time is right, they'll let me know, hey dude, you know, it really wasn't that cool. And they say it in a nice, loving, and caring way, which I could only imagine it had to come from something that truly loved me and truly had my best interest at heart. Because I heard it, I accepted it, and my behavior starts to change. And as my behavior starts to change, we move to step 8. And step 8 talks about we make this list of all persons that we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. And this here is where a lot of people get tripped up, because they figured as soon as I make this list, I got to go out and say, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. Oh, I'm so sorry. And they get all twisted and turned out of shape when you don't accept their apology. Step just said, I made a list of all persons I had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. Some people I'll never be able to make amends to because they're no longer with us. Some people that I dealt with that as a, okay, well, as a direct result of my actions, my words, they're not here. How to go back and say, hey man, I'm sorry that I made them do that to you, man. Because I set you up. Because I stole the drugs and I made them think it was you. I did that. And what they did to that poor boy, you know, when I can't change that. I can't do anything about that. And I'm really going to live with that for the rest of my life. But I don't have to let that define who I am. I can move past that. Because my step 8, if dude was really there in front of me, I would honestly make a confession and try to make things right. And that's all that step asked me to do. Made a list of all persons that I had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. And there were some hard amends that I had to make to people that are still living, people that had no idea. And this is where I'm going to move into step 9, because that's step 9. You know, we made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. Because I always like to include me in those others. If you were married and Rachel was your girl, I hate to tell you, I'm the pappy of that baby, man. I'm that baby's pappy. Now, I done cleared my conscience. I feel good now. I told the truth. I came clean. What's going to happen when he gets her behind closed doors?
You threw Rachel under the bus.
Man. All for the sake. Now again, one of my character defects was I just want to feel good about me. I want to clear my conscience. I got to unload this stuff. So, wow. Sorry, Rachel. You still gonna name him after me? Probably not. Probably not. Okay. But again, and this here is where that step, they included this, except when to do so would injure them or others. But wait a minute. My step 8, you told me I got to make a list of all persons I had harmed and make amends to them. But dude, you got to, because see, a lot of people don't read that last part. You make direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. And then we go to step 10. Step 10 tells us we continue to take personal inventory. And when we're wrong, promptly admit it. And this here is where even after a couple of years of being clean, you know, you don't stand on some non-existent virtue. You know, you just get right to the source real quick and say, you know, you're right. Man, I was wrong. And at the end of the day, most days, more times than not, I do think about the day. What did I do right? Make sure I try to do that tomorrow. What did I do wrong? Is there anything that I could do to correct that? Well, sometimes the only correction, the only amends that we can make, don't make that same mistake again. Just don't do it again. I don't have to go out and make an elaborate show that, oh, I'm sorry, oh, I did that. Look, just don't do it again. And the only way that we could do this is we have to take an honest and thorough inventory daily. Now, you started that in step 4, yeah. But step 10 is a continuation of that, because we constantly want to look at self-progression, self-improvement. We do that. And in part of that self-improvement, we look at step 11, that we continue, that we get a conscious contact. We continue to improve our conscious contact with God as we understand Him, praying only for the knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. Because sometimes it's hard to walk straight in this crooked world. Trying to find the strength when everybody else is laughing and joking and thinking like this is the bomb. Standing there and saying, no, that's not for me. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to sign up for it. I'm not going to co-sign it. I'm not following you. And this here's where that prayer and meditation comes in, to get that close relationship to a God of your understanding, to give you the strength to withstand a lot of the things in this world. Because as CPS workers, you're going to see some of the ugliest stuff. And it might jade some of you, that you're going to think that that person that came in, that really needed some of your compassion and some of your help, man, you are all the same. I done seen this time and time again. And you just, get the hell out of here. Because we don't stay connected to a loving God that gives us the power and the strength to see through, to go through, carrying His will out. And carrying His will out is still helping people, because you were drawn to this profession. You were drawn to this profession because there's something inside you that says, I do want to make a difference. Because if you're going to be like some of the CPS workers that I know, you ain't in it for the money. I guarantee you. Because if you think you're going to get paid doing this, I would suggest that you go sign out of this class right now and become a doctor. No, be a lawyer. Yeah, become a lawyer. Okay, real quick, I got this one for you. I got to tell this one. I got it. Why did New Jersey get all of the toxic waste dumps and California got all the lawyers? Why did New Jersey get all of the toxic waste dumps and California got the lawyers? Anybody know why? Anybody know why? New Jersey had first pick. Okay, just in case, well, I can tell it, because see, I don't have to worry about lawyers anymore, and because my life is different. And it's all because, again, these 12 steps. And this here's what brought me today. Step 12. Having had this spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, try to carry this message to addicts who are still suffering and practice these principles in all our affairs. Now, I don't think I have any addicts in here, but I've got people who are going to be carrying a message to people just like me. And you need to see what we look like after your help. Because I'm somebody's success story. And you too could be responsible for somebody just like me. Because I was that grimy, hadn't washed in weeks, still in the same pair of clothes for like 5 days. You could really smell me coming. Okay? Until somebody cared enough. A social worker. A nurse. A counselor. They cared enough to direct me to a place that could help me. And it was a 12-step organization. Not knocking self, faith-based organization. I needed more than that. Because my mom, my family, most of the people in my family are Jehovah's Witnesses. And even after I go to the hall, I do all my Bible studies, I do my watchtowers, did all that stuff. Soon as service is over, okay, I'm good. What's up? I'm happy now. Even with all that, I'm still getting high. So tell me, religion alone is not going to do it. I need other recovering addicts. They need a 12-step program. And again, even within the 12-step program, let's look at what we're doing. Step 3, well, step 2 and 3 talks about finding a higher power, something that's greater than yourself. Step 3 talks about turning your will and your life over to the care of God as you understood Him. 6 and 7, we humbly ask God, we're ready for God to remove all our defects of character. We humbly ask Him to remove our shortcomings. 11, we continue to improve our personal contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for the knowledge of His will for us. We don't leave God out the picture. We include God, but go to church and sit there in the pew and you tell that preacher, hey man, I really felt like getting high today. Man, I feel like going to get one right now. What? Man, they're going to look at you like something that's on the bottom of their new shoe. That's why I need people who are just like me, who came through that, who stuck their hand out and said, come on, come on. They showed me another way. And I still do my watchtower. I still read my Bible. Because it's the God of my understanding, and learning the God of my understanding, knowing what His will is for me, is what keeps me going today. Hey man, go on up there and talk to somebody. Okay, I could have been doing something else. But that's not what the God of my understanding tells me to do. So where I can help, help. Where I can educate, educate. Who knows? You're going to run into somebody just like me. Guarantee it. And you're going to look past all of that grimy stuff. Because if you keep, whoa, where'd that come from? If you keep a conscious contact with God, your understanding, and I really don't care what religious order you want to go with. It's going to let you see the good in other people. Don't let this system jade you. Don't become cynical. Because this here is the first trap that we fall into. Because even before I became that hope to die dope thing, I'm successful as a medical assistant, in the field, because I went to school for that before all of this stuff happened, in my early 20s. Yeah, we'll do it like that. In my early, stop laughing. Okay, in my early 20s, that I got that education, I started working in the field. I was an ER tech for a while. Some of the stuff that I see come in through the ER, I figured, I'm going to go out and really help people. I became EMT, and I moved up through the ranks as an EMT basic, EMT intermediate, just stopped this short of becoming a paramedic. I've worked in hospitals from cardiac care units to, believe it or not, OB. I did 3 months on an OB unit. And some of the things that I've seen, I let, especially in the ER, out there on the street, I let a lot of that stuff, I don't know. I want to use that as an excuse for me doing what I did. But I couldn't handle some of the things that we do to each other. Couldn't handle some of the things that people did to themselves. So I take it out on me. I go get high. I go drown my sorrows. I want to disconnect. And I'm not saying that you're going to use a substance, the more dangerous drug that I think is out here, and I'm going to classify it as a drug: apathy. Apathy kills more people than any gun ever did. I don't care how many bombs you want to drop on a society, apathy still kills millions more. Failing to care, failing to feel. But you stay connected, you get the And this disease of addiction, let's stop talking to misinformed people because they're going to lead you down the wrong road. What makes me an expert on this? Because I'm telling you, I wanted to get high so bad, I wanted to keep getting high. I tried everything that I knew possible, every combination. And in 30 years, I went through a lot of changes. I went through a lot of things. And I didn't find anything that was worth staying with until I got to a 12-step program. In this society, we treat this drug addiction, and this here is probably, and I still got to get over the cynical side, just on conservative figures, the illicit drug trade generates close to $100 billion a year in profits for somebody. Now, you're going to say that we got a government that's really trying to stamp this drug out because they got the war on drugs. And this here is probably where my cynical side comes in. Well, I'm seeing a lot of the crooked cops on the other side that been paid. I didn't see them take payment. I didn't see them steal, be too cute and don't do something that they were, boy, they'd have fun with you. And I'm talking about police officers. They'd have fun with you. Here's when my cynicism comes. But I can't let that bother me anymore. Let's get back to this. $100 billion a year. Add up every budget of every federal law enforcement agency that they have, and you'll come to something like $17.8 billion a year that they spend on law enforcement. Anybody in here ever did advertising major? What part of your budget do you like break off just for advertising? To reach out to let people know that you're a good company, that you got a great product? Something like 15, 17, 18%, maybe 20% of your budget is for advertising to generate more money? There is no way in the world. This is just my personal opinion. I represent nobody but me. My personal opinion, there's no way in the world this country could afford to wipe out the drug trade overnight. They can't. Let me take $100 billion out of your budget and let me see you survive. Oh, me? Really? And this here is where I have to push some kind of treatment program, because our government, our city officials, man, they're not interested in cleaning this up. They're not. And some of you that work in DCS, you're going to see some of the bureaucracy, some of the crazy stuff that they do. That this don't help nobody. Why y'all doing it like this? It doesn't help anybody. This is why we have to stay connected to one another. We have to look at organizations that are really doing a good job in pulling people up out of this. Because wishing for this problem to go away ain't gonna happen. I'm not here to really slam methadone clinics, but I mean, in my 30 years, I've never seen anybody successfully come off of methadone. They go in with 15, 20 milligrams a day. They say they feel bad. Instead of cutting them down, they bump them up. 3 years later, they're still there. Are you serious? Okay, I'll stop. But this here is what I wanted to come up here and share with you. You can be responsible for something like this. Just take care to really look into what options are out there. Listen to your client. And be gentle and loving when you guide them to places where they can get the help. Anybody got any questions?